So Joe Burrow put the blame on himself for not making the playoffs last season. And I think as a whole, we can come together and say Joe Burrow was definitely not the problem last season. If he had even a somewhat of a okay defense, we would have been a playoff team. Even if he had like 1/50th of a defense, we would have been a playoff team. So definitely we'll say he's the last guy we would blame for last season. We would obviously blame the kicking unit, the defense, because the offensive line definitely, even with offensive line struggles, Joe was still amazing. Like, he is the last one on the list. But at the end of the day, this is what leaders do. Leaders always take the blame themselves rather than put the blame on others. They always do this to go ahead and try to better themselves and also better all the players around them. You know, you don't put blame on this guy or that guy. You say we're all going to get better together, but it starts with the captain of the team, the franchise, which is Joe Burrow. He says, if I had played even better, we wouldn't have been in the spot we were in. I just got to focus on getting better myself. And I feel like everyone in the locker room feels the same. If I go out there and play better than I did last year, and then it doesn't matter what goes on anywhere else. That's actually a very interesting take. For the most part, I don't think he is the problem. But I do agree with his statement of saying that, this also should, make everyone else, everywhere else on the team, feel the same way. If everyone does their best, if everyone plays even better than they did last year, we would have been in the playoffs. So, again, when Joe speaks, Joe means what he says. And that's the big thing about Joe Burrow, is that he doesn't speak much, but when he does, there's meaning behind every word he says. Someone commented on it and said, they had no defense. Why would they even want to go to the playoffs with 3 playoff level players on the whole roster? Ugh, I don't agree with that one, but I will say, if we went to the playoffs, it would have been rough. It would have been very, very rough if we went to the playoffs. We didn't have the defense to be able to shut down quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, like Josh Allen, like Patrick. Okay. Listen. Gonna put a stipulation here. We usually take care of the Bills, and we usually take care of the Chiefs. But my point is, though, it would have been difficult with how bad our defense was. So, if we would have gotten to the Super Bowl, could we have shut down the Eagles? Probably not. We would have probably lost another Super Bowl if we would have gotten there against the Eagles. But still, you never know. When you have number 9 on your team, at the end of the day, you have no idea what could happen. He says, nice job taking responsibility, but no one on earth believes the team didn't make the playoffs because of anything but their horrendous defense. Also kicking. Kicking and horrendous defense. But again, this is what a captain does. Like, Joe is just showing exactly what you want in a leader. Someone who's going to take responsibility even if it's not his fault. Because his job is to lead the team. Joe from the Burrow knows how to lead. I don't know what that means. But yeah, again, like I said, across the board, love Joe. Even if Joe would have put up better stats last year already, insane stats. 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4,900 yards. It doesn't change the fact our defense still was crap. Doesn't change the fact that our kicking was crap. Doesn't change the fact our offensive line couldn't block. And all of our running backs went down with injury. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. We just got to get back this year. Stay healthy. That's a really big factor. Again, losing Logan Wilson last year. Losing DJ Turner. Losing Dax Hill. It doesn't help. It really doesn't. So having these guys stay healthy is also a very, very important thing. Now, as I said before in my video earlier today, and I'll say it again, if our defense is even somewhat close, like let's say somewhat close to above average, we're going to win the Super Bowl. 100%. 1,000%. If our defense is above average. If our defense is average, I think we'll still win the Super Bowl. We just need an average or above average defense. That's really all we need at the end of the day. Now, again, we want way more than that, right? We want way more than just above average or average. But a beggar can't be a chooser. We didn't really do that much this offseason to go ahead and, go after that fact. If you want to have the best defense, you got to go out there. You got to make the contracts work. You got to will and deal. You got to finesse around to other free agents, and we didn't do it. We just added 3 more scouts to our scouting department. Why didn't we do that during the draft or before the draft? So we would have had better ideas on the best players. Now, of course, at the end of the day, scouts, they scout the players throughout the whole year. It's not just the very ending. But again, it's things like that. It's principles / precedents that are set that you could use to fix and help yourself out. We don't always do. And that's it is what it is type scenario. Like right now, we still haven't paid Trey, and we have a lot of money. Sitting there in our cap space right now that we could go out there and get free agents or pay Trey or do this, that, or a third, right? Recently, we actually had a sports analyst. They went ahead and just absolutely ripped the Bengals front office, the new one, because of the situation with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Not per se that their contracts were awful, just the fact that the Bengals didn't use void years, which would have gave them more cap space this year and the next couple years and kind of kicked the can down the road. So, again, it's all a bunch of stuff, but tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. See you guys in the next one.